Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to Combat Sport UK. Myself and Ben Thompson joined today by UFC lightweight Mike Davis. Mike, how you doing?
Hi, what's up, guys? I'm doing well. Everything's going well today. Nice and sunny.
Not where we are in the UK, I'm not going to lie.
No, it's a holiday today, so everyone's out by the pool.
Of course. We're just under a month away until your fights. So how are you feeling ahead of your return to the octagon?
If normal. It's not really a big deal for me. But I feel good. I feel as good as I can get,
With regards to your preparation, obviously you've been training with some of the top dogs in the UFC, realistically. You've obviously said, like Dustin Poirier, you said, is one of your idols. I was just wondering, how important do you think it is to be training with the high caliber level of guys that you have been, like it for your growth inside the cage?
It can be good and bad. Training with people that are, like, especially in your division, that are top 5 and even title contenders like Dustin, that you'll be getting beat up sometimes. Like, it's gonna happen, and it could honestly make you feel like you're not ready for your fight. So I think it's good to spar with really high level people, and then also like beginner and pros, and that way you know where your skill set is and you know how you're improving.
So your last fight was a fight of the night win over Mason Jones, and it's got to be said, that was an all-out war. I loved watching that fight. It was amazing. But since then, you've been quite unlucky with some injuries, and there were rumors of you coming back at UFC London, but that didn't quite work out. So I've got to ask, what has your time been like since that war with Mason Jones?
I've kind of just been living. I've been hanging out, traveling, enjoying life. Got into some new kind of careers, figuring out what I want to do outside of fighting, because I can't fight forever and I don't want to fight forever. So I mean, everything's good. I've healed up, I've got my surgeries done, and life has just been, I don't know, easy, I guess.
Love that. And you said after the Mason fight that you had some things that maybe you needed to correct with your fight game. Would you say that all that's been corrected now ahead of this next fight?
Oh yeah. Most definitely. I feel like I have improved my skill set 100-fold, but there's always little things that you want to correct. Like right now, I feel like my skill set is kind of maxed, and there's not really much I can improve on without getting back into the ring and seeing how I perform and how I do. So after October 1st, I guess I'll get to see the things that I need to fix and work on some more. But right now, I feel pretty content.
After that Mason Jones fight, what do you think were the things you needed to correct? Is there anything specific you thought you could have improved on?
A lot of it was just a mental aspect, and I have spoken with therapists, hypnotherapists, and a lot of mental coaching. I've done a lot of meditating. I've done a lot of reading. So I believe that I am able to finally sit back and kind of enjoy what I'm doing.
So you've been involved in some quality scraps. The ones with Mason Jones and Sadiq Youssef come to mind, particularly for me. Which fight of yours would you say is your favorite? Is it something that happened in the amateur scene? Is it one of your earlier pro fights? Where do you go when you think about one of the best fights you've had and the most enjoyable?
Most enjoyable fighting isn't enjoyable. It's painful. So I don't look at fighting as it's an enjoyable thing to do. I look at it as like a test of skills. It's like training for a video game or something as such. And you just, once you're done training and preparing, you test out your skill set. That's kind of just how it is. We're just lucky enough to get paid for it. I would look at my favorite fight. It's one of those two. Definitely one of those two. Only because it was back and forth. I would probably have to go with the Mason Jones one because I came out on top. And I got to showcase a lot. I don't really wrestle in my fights. I kind of just strike every fight. Doesn't matter who the guy is, I'll just strike with him. I noticed a lot of my game in that fight. And I noticed that's where I was finally able to figure out what I need to work on. So.
And your next fight, obviously going down to the Apex, your return to the Apex. One thing we always love to ask people here is if you could pick a dream location to fight anywhere in the UFC, obviously they've traveled to Paris recently. What would be your dream location to fight?
Ooh, I don't know. Only because I haven't been out there a long time. They should do one in Thailand, because I like Thailand and I would love to go back there. So they should definitely do one in Thailand.
I can imagine that Thailand card would be absolutely stacked with some of the most incredible fights. If you could pick a dream fighter to take on at UFC Thailand, who would you pick?
Ooh, tough one.
That's what we do here at Combat Sports UK. We ask the toughest questions.
I've always been a big fan of Max Holloway, and I think we would have a fun fight. It wouldn't be so barbaric, but it would be really fun.
That would be a top class fight, I'll be honest. Over here at Combat Sports UK, we obviously cover the UK scene, and it's grown massively over the last few weeks, with Leon Edwards picking up that huge knockout over Kamaru Usman to become the welterweight champion. And over in the UK, there is a certain Scouser going by the name of Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, who's causing quite a scene. What are your thoughts on Paddy the Baddy? And is there a potential future matchup between two?
I mean, he's in my weight class, so there's always a potential matchup there. My take on him, like skill set wise, or
both, because obviously we all know he's got one of the most amazing personalities and funniest personalities in the UFC division at the moment. Where do you have your thoughts on him, personality wise, and then skill set wise?
Personality wise, he's living his life, and I guess he brings it from outside into the cage, and he doesn't really change. So he's being himself and he's enjoying it, and that's honestly what makes him a good fighter. Skill wise, I don't see his striking as a skill. He kind of just blatantly throws punches, winging for the wild. He gets dropped every fight. I know he mentioned that he's never got knocked out or something like that. I remember this interview, but he gets knocked down every fight, or rocked at least minimum, and that's not good. It's not good to get rocked. It's not something to be proud of. I do see his wrestling isn't great, but his grappling is pretty good. But yeah, any potential matchup in the future is definitely there. I know I'm probably a bigger person. I've never been a smaller fighter. I've always been the bigger 55. Even at 55, yeah, I've been the bigger guy.
And I guess we've seen on your Instagram, you've already kind of mentioned. I'm just curious about the hypnotherapy is the right, sorry, the word was escaping me there. I'd love to just understand a bit more about that. How has that helped you, and what exactly is it that goes into that?
Oh yeah, Rob, he's from the UK. So what he would do, he'd call me on the phone. I'd put like these headphones on, something that can cancel out some noise, and he'll talk to me. We'll set affirmations. We'll talk about how training's going, what I can, like how I've been thinking while training, and then we'll do kind of a session where I'll lay down, I'll get comfy, like I want to go to sleep, and with my headphones on, and he'll talk. He'll do his hypnotherapist work, and that way I go through all this, and I come out. I kind of feel like it's going into my subconscious because I'm not really present. I feel like I'm not there, but I'm listening to everything in the background. So it's interesting, and it's definitely played a big part in my focus. My training has become a lot more clear.
From your experience, would hypnotherapy be something you'd kind of recommend to other mixed martial artists?
Definitely something to try out. It will get you an idea of where you are in your mind. And I feel like as a professional at this level, it's 50% physical, 50% mental. It could even be more like 70% mental.
So we've briefly touched upon UFC London, your pulled out fight with Jai Herbert, which never materialized. So we never look past an opponent, but if and when you are successful on October 1st, could a fight with Jai Herbert be something you're looking at towards the end of this year or the start of next year? And is that something that would excite you?
I'm never excited to fight. I just do it when it's time. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of things going on at that particular moment in time. The traveling wasn't something I wanted to do. So I did tell them that I would take the fight back over in the States if that was over a case that could be happen. He's still here, so it's up in the air for the opportunity.
And I've got to ask, just when you say, like, for example, I know understandably fights don't excite you because, like you say, you're getting hit, it hurts. Like every fighter has to go through that. But I'm curious if that's kind of where your head's at with terms to getting excited for fights. How important is it for you to break into the rankings someday? Is that still something that gets you excited, though?
No. I mean, I like to fight. I like to train. I feel like my family is in the gym. So I wake up every morning with this goal in mind that I need to go to the gym. I need to train. It's what makes me happy and gives me kind of like a purpose. The fighting part, however, doing this in order to showcase myself to the world has never been important to me. What's good though is the fact that as I do climb, I get enough publicity and financial situations to settle my life, my mother, and that makes it worth doing. So I just keep doing it.
I find that really interesting. But so you've been in the fight game for some time now. So I guess just bouncing off that, what would you say is the biggest life lesson you've taken from your time fighting?
Biggest life lesson to me is to not become consumed by fighting. There's so much more to life, and people are like Hamzat is just obsessed with fighting. Go do something with your life. Go live. Go have fun. You got so many years here. You spend nearly a third of it sleeping. So go live.
And finally, from us, where do you see yourself in, say, the next 5 to 10 years' time? Do you see yourself with the strap wrapped around your waist over your shoulder? Maybe the double belts? Triple C, maybe?
I could see that. 5 years from now, as long as they stop giving me one fight a year, I can definitely see myself climbing the rankings. I probably will go back to 45, to be honest, because I'm just not a heavy 55er. I'm very light. And talking to people like Paddy the Baddy or Terrence McKinney, I talk to him all the time, and he's touching like 188 up there, and I'm not anywhere near that. So I think I'll go back to 45, maybe after this one or maybe the next one. I could also not cut any weight at all and just fight 170. So those are all options. They're all things that I will probably explore.
Well, Mike, that's all the questions we had for you. It's been one of the more interesting chats we've had. Really appreciate you coming to speak to us. Like, obviously, I know it takes a bit of time out of your schedule, so we really appreciate you speaking to us. Mike fights at UFC Fighting Night, October 1st. Can't wait to watch your fight, Mick. Thank you for speaking to us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much.